You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Do you ever have a kiddo pop into your office last minute and you need an activity to do quickly? Or do you ever wish you had access to hundreds of school counseling resources at your fingertips? Well, my Impact School Counselor membership is for you. Inside Impact, you get access to hundreds of resources sorted by topic, tier, season, or monthly lesson plans. Simply log on, find what you need, download it, and use it with your students right away. You also get access to our community where you can meet like-minded school counselors to troubleshoot tough cases, get inspired, and collaborate with your colleagues. Not only that, we also know how important it is to stay on top of your professional development. That's why we offer live quarterly trainings on hot topics that you need most. Impact is designed to make your counseling life easier. I know you're super busy. That's why I've made it super simple to access everything you need in one place. This way you can spend your time and energy doing what you love the most, helping kiddos. If you're looking for a one-stop shop for all of your counseling needs so you don't have to worry about searching on different sites, paying for things here and there, you can find everything you need on demand in one place in Impact.
Head over to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/impact to watch a sneak peek video behind the scenes of what all is included in the membership. Again, that's stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/impact to get started today. I can't wait to help you make an impact.
You're listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So today I want to talk to you guys all about data. Now, I do data episodes a lot because I love data. I feel like it's so powerful. It's a great way to reach more students and to advocate for our role as school counselors. I think a lot of counselors are, scared of data, hesitant to get started, and feel like it's hard. So it's my personal mission to make it feel totally doable for you guys. So as it's November, and we're getting toward the end of the semester, I want to talk to you guys about a mid-year data checkpoint. Now, you may know that I love to do an end of the year report, and while this is the end of the calendar year, I usually do those at the end of the school year, but at a midway point here, I love to do something like a data wall. Now, a data wall is just a cool bulletin board that you can hang up showcasing some of your counseling stats. So you would want to put this in a high traffic common area, somewhere like the front office, maybe outside your office, cafeteria, hallway, school board office, anywhere. But you want to get as most eyes on it as possible. Student eyes are good, but mainly like parents, teachers, admin, all those key stakeholders. So there's two things you can showcase on here. You can showcase the services that you provided, and you can showcase some student progress data. Today I want to talk to you about the services provided, and then I'll do a later episode about student progress data. But services provided, this is great because even if you're thinking, this sounds cool and I want to do this, but I have not been collecting data, no worries, because guess what? You have been. If you've been seeing kids, you have this data. You just need to find it. So services provided data is simply looking at your records and documenting, writing down in one place the number of kids that you've been serving. So for example, how many classrooms are you going in to do lessons? How often are you going into those? What topics are you teaching? How many small groups have you run? How many kids are in those small groups? How many individual students have you seen? How many hours have you logged, seeing kids individually? How many hours have you put in direct student services? Things like that. These are great stats that I'm just pulling off the top of my head that you can have, that you can easily find. So you may be thinking, okay, well, I haven't been documenting any of that. So best case scenario, you have a counseling log. Now, I'll link to mine in the show notes. I love a counseling log. It's a simple spreadsheet you can make just saying like every day, who you're seeing and what you did with them real quick. Johnny came in for 30 minutes, an individual session. We talked about self-regulation. I did a small group of these 4 girls for a half hour. We talked about friendship. That's like a quick way to log which students you're seeing. Hopefully you're doing something like that. If you're not, no worries. You can totally start it mid-year. But you can go back and count up how many students you've been seeing. So look at your calendar. Whether you have a Google Calendar or an online calendar, that's great because you can just use the search feature to search like group or individual. But if not, you can go through and manually count them, or if you even have a paper calendar or a planner, you can go through and count, oh yeah, I did this many class lessons. You might even have to get like a little scrappy and go on like an email scavenger hunt to see like when you scheduled things. But hopefully this mid-year checkpoint is a good way to see some systems that you need to put in place for the remainder of the year to make your end of the year checkpoint easier. So you can say, wow, I haven't really been doing a counseling log. Maybe I'll start that now. Or I haven't been, keeping track of everything on my calendar. Maybe I'll start doing that now, so it's easier to collect this data later. So the mid-year data checkpoint is serving us two things. Number one, it's helping you collect this data that we're going to showcase on our data wall. But number two, it's helping you figure out what systems that you're lacking or that you want to implement to make this easier in the future. So definitely not too late to get started. Now, when it comes to your student services provided, you want to include this stuff and kind of like to showcase and brag about it. This does two things. One, you're kind of bragging about your program. Look how awesome our counseling program is. We're seeing this many students. We're helping this many kiddos through class lessons. We're spending this much time in direct student services. That's awesome. We want more counselors. We want more funding. Woohoo, yay us. Advocating, right? Advocating. But at the same time, we're also showing, look at these services we provide. Did you know we do this? Maybe a parent walks by and they see your data wall and they're like, wait, she does small groups? I thought she only did class lessons. I want my kid to be in a small group. My kid totally needs it. Or maybe a student sees it and they're like, whoa, I didn't know there were, social skills small groups, or I didn't know I could see her individually for anxiety, because you can put the topics, right? You want to, obviously not include any student names. We want to keep this confidential, but you can say that you saw, 5 students for anxiety or something like that. That way you're really showing teachers, parents, and students themselves how you can help them. The services that you offer, the services that you're providing. Again, it's mid-year, so you're sharing this now so then they can say, oh, I'm going to refer for this, or I didn't even know we had a school counselor. Hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. So those are some easy ways that you can use the services provided. Put this in beautiful, colors and pie charts and graphs, all the things. Maybe you're seeing 30% of the student population. Maybe of the students you see, maybe you see 70% of them in groups and 30% in individual. Maybe you spend 60% of your day in direct student services. Maybe you only spend 20% of your day in direct student services. That's the data we want, people. That's what you can show your admin and say, hey, this is a problem. I need to be doing more of this. Instead, I've been going to 504 meetings, or, I'm testing coordinator. So you can have a lot of power with your data. Use the data to back you up. I have a data wall template for you guys. If you want to check it out, I'll link to it in the show notes. You can totally make your own. I'd love to see yours, actually. Please tag me on Instagram at Bright Futures Counseling. I would love to see your data walls. But if you're looking for a template or an example, go to the show notes and check out my data wall so you can get yours going. But I can't wait for you guys to do this. It's a great way to kind of self-reflect on the data you have and the students you're serving in an effort to not only advocate for your role, but to share how you can help more students. All right, guys, I hope you found this helpful. Like I said, stay tuned for a later episode where we'll be diving into student progress data for your data wall. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.